In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a throttle body on your Toyota Camry. This part will require a relearn procedure. We'll talk about that more later in the video. Let's get started. Using a 10mm socket, remove the two nuts for the engine cover. Remove the engine cover. Remove the connector from the MAF sensor, push it, pull the connector off. Using a 10mm socket, remove the two bolts for the airbox. There's one in the front, and there should be one in the back. Ours is missing in the back. We're going to pull the box up. I'm going to remove the filter. We're going to let this hang out here for a second while we take a few more things off. Pinch the clamp, pull it back. Pull the hose off. Pinch the clamp for the intake boot going to the throttle body. And pull the hose off of the throttle body. Remove the connector for the purge valve. Pinch the clamp, pull it back, and pull the hose off. Pinch the clamp, pull it back, and pull the hose off the throttle body. Remove the intake. Remove the connector for the throttle body. There's a push button on the back side. Pull it off. That's the push button. There's a clamp for the harness. This tab pulls back, and this flap will come up, and you can remove the harness out of it. I'm going to tuck it up out of the way. Remove the rubber hose out of the plastic stay. Using a 12mm socket, remove the 4 bolts from the throttle body. Remove the bolts. You can remove the bracket. Now we have really easy access to our 2 clamps for our coolant hoses. Using clamps, we're going to pinch off the coolant hoses to the throttle body. It's going to make it so there's less of a mess. You don't have to use these. Just know that when you take these lines off, you are going to spill coolant. Just have a rag or something under you to catch it. Using a pair of pliers, pinch the clamp and slide it back. Grab the hose and remove it off of the fitting. Do the same thing on the other one. There's one more line on the bottom. Go ahead and remove that. Ours popped off on the bottom as well. We'll have to reattach that. I'm going to remove the throttle body gasket from the throttle body. We're going to take this out and we're going to clean it. Ours is in good condition, so we're going to reuse it. We do recommend changing these. Using a clean rag, we're going to go around and we're going to clean the plastic surface. We're going to remove any of the crust or the corrosion. You could use a bit of glass cleaner, but you don't want to necessarily use parts cleaner. Install the throttle body gasket. We're going to grab the extra hose. And it gets installed onto this nipple right here, and the hose comes around and sits on this side. We're going to install the hose onto the throttle body. Reach down and grab the coolant hose. Install it onto the correct fitting. Using a pair of pliers, grab the clamp. Pull it back into position. I'll remove my clamp now that it's installed. The same thing on the other one. Line up the bolts and install them finger tight. Before you install this last bolt, be sure to install the bracket. Snug the bolts down. Do this in a cross pattern so it sits nice and square. Torque the throttle body bolts to 22 foot-pounds. We're going to go in a cross pattern. Install the connector for the throttle body. Push until you hear a click. If you don't hear a click, give it a pull. Make sure it's really on there. Put the harness in the plastic clip and close it up. Install the fuel line back into the plastic stay. Before installing our throttle body, I'm going to make sure this clamp is in the locked position. When you push it together, this little tab should hold, and then once we have it installed, we can just push on it and it should pop and bring the tension back on the boot. Install the intake onto the throttle body. Make sure the intake is fully installed onto the throttle body, and then pinch the clamp. And unlock the clamp. Install the vacuum hose onto the fitting. Pinch the clamp. Return it to its position. Install the air filter into the box. Make sure that the back is clipped in, and then it'll hinge down. Snug the bolt down. If you have the rear one, snug that down as well now. Install the vacuum hose onto the solenoid. Grab the harness, install the connector, push until you hear a click. If you don't hear a click, pull on it, make sure it's on there. That one was not. There you go, heard the click, give it a pull, it's locked. Do the same thing on the MAF sensor. Install the hose into the valve cover. Pinch the clamp. Pull it into place. And if your hose looks like ours, you want to perfectly put this back into the position it was. Since the hose is so squished, if you put it in a different position, it has a higher chance of leaking. Install the engine cover. Install the two nuts and snug them down. With the throttle body installed, remove the radiator cap. Install a coolant funnel. And we'll top off the coolant. Once you have the coolant topped off, go ahead and start the car and run it for about 10-15 minutes or until it gets up to temperature. Let the cooling system bleed. Once the cooling system's done bleeding, go ahead and remove your funnel. And reinstall the radiator cap. Directions for a relearn process are in the description. Go ahead and check that out.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.